Alvin, general sentiment on the local bourse. Of course, during that election week, you had so many offshore issues also happening, particularly the Fed also, having a more aggressive stance here. Right now, as things have settled down, jitters are quelled for the moment, both offshore and hopefully onshore. How are you seeing us perform?
I guess I'd have to preface that question with the time frame you have in mind. Um, I think things will be uncertain for the next 2 years. And this is not due to the result of the election. I think the general macro economy is in bad shape. You have the war in Ukraine, of course, which is causing inflation in commodities. You have turmoil in China. The massive lockdowns have disrupted supply chains. So it's against this backdrop that a new administration will have to steer the ship of state, so to speak.
Okay, I wanted to ask as well what you see in terms of a Marcos presidency. So you did mention that despite there will always be these issues here, the backdrop of the war in Ukraine, the inflation issues, but is there going to be a feeling of continuity from investors because Marcos is of course starting to choose his economic team? Is this for whatever reason quelling the sentiment that we had of investor anxiety last week?
Well, I think if there's one thing you can count on, it's continuity. He's certainly not from the opposition, certainly not as opposed as the candidate who came in second. So, and during the course of the campaign, you could see that many priorities that the outgoing administration espoused, he will also seek to continue. Particular note is infrastructure. He will push that. He's spoken about that in numerous interviews. Tourism, unfortunately, that was derailed by COVID. But if it's possible, he'd like to push that. There'll be an emphasis on agriculture and MSMEs. So I think he has pinpointed what he calls the highest ROI in terms of what will benefit or create the most good for the country for the least, for less effort, for the least effort possible.
Okay.
Alvin, Dan, Jesse is jumping in very quickly. I know you laid out here some of the programs that at least Marcos Jr. seems to be building up on from the previous administration. But how crucial is it as well for investors that he at least comes up as much as possible very quickly or very soon, a cabinet team? And how crucial is it, or at least is it something that you are looking forward to the possibility of him retaining some of the economic managers under the Duterte administration?
Okay, in an ideal world, we'd have the cabinet picks now. But I think, depending on your political persuasion, some say that, he's spending a lot of time discerning the right people for the job. I think I have to give it to him. I think he's probably thought about this a lot when he was campaigning. But now that he is the president-elect, that changes your perspective greatly. And I'm not privy to the exact workings in his mind, but if he was going to choose solely on the basis of those close to him, then the names would be out by now. But I think the fact that, there's a little more time in discerning who are the best people for the job shows that he's not choosing on the basis of those who are close to him or who have helped him during this campaign, but who are the right people for the job. So, you could choose to look at it from this perspective.